on the Chag as well. By flipping the script of in a 3-1 fashion. Now, hasn't played Mauu yet today. This is a matchup that I feel like is, I mean, it's hard to say that any matchup is a bad Steve matchup or bad Alex matchup. You would like to think that all of the matchups are winning on Steve's end, but Ryu does have some tools, but I think generally speaking, it's definitely going to be Manny a little bit more in control. But Mauu, an amazing player in his own right, might be able to make some magic happen here.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Let's see, though. We immediately up the rip see great defense coming in from Mauu, and you have to be absolutely on point when you are talking defense versus Steve or Alex, right? Like, you know that you can get carried away, and that is going to turn into a ton of damage. And indeed, it is still, in spite of being a couple of straight hits, gotta be a ton of damage. 75 racked up already, and a measly 7 against Alex right here. Manny gonna take use of the minecart right there and not gonna let Mauu advance even a little bit. Mauu, one of the better representatives for this character in the metropolitan area of Mexico, of course, and a player that is no slouch in this matchup. However, Manny right now making it look like a breeze.
Yeah, Manny definitely making quick work. So far so good. Trying to find some footing here. I mean, but this is the scenario where, oh my God, are you dead? You're dead. That's so early. That's so unlucky. The diamond forward air just spiking, doing a really good job of just keeping Mauu at bay, and just like that, 3 stock to 1 deficit right here. Very, very strong game 1. I mean, Manny is the one who's the most warmed up right now, obviously having just played a set. So it might take a second to adapt, but man, this might be a tough ask for Mauu right now. Definitely looking really good if you're Manny.
Yeah, I think at this point you are already thinking about your second game, right? How about a counter pick here? Maybe we've seen the Ken as well. I don't know if that is necessarily going to be a better matchup, so to speak. However, I mean, something's gotta give right here, as Manny doesn't even have 50% on him. Miraculous recovery out of Mauu, however, times of the essence right here, and I don't think that Mauu is long for this world. He's still gonna try to make use of some of this rage that he's got going on for himself, and Ryu definitely one of the characters that can make better use of it at this instance. Though it is, I mean, you still have a mountain to climb, a shield to break though, and perhaps a little bit of momentum to the side of Mauu, even in spite of him not perhaps being able to fully amount to the comeback, though I will reserve my comment until we see further, just a little bit more. However, never mind. It seems like Manny's got that answer for me right quick. And at the very least, you got a little bit of momentum, like I said, to the end, but it was just such a hot start from Manny that Mauu had, an impossible task ahead of him at that point.
Yeah, it definitely looked a little bit, it looked like a tough ask right there. Unfortunately, just a really, really electrifying start from Manny, and was able to, just continue to push the advantage, right? And ended up getting an early stock. I mean, that might have been like a sub 60 stock, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe sub 70. It was really, really bad. But Mauu obviously finds the shield break. You can tell that the pressure is there, and Mauu knows how to pressure. It's just, if Steve's win conditions are met first, it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's you are looking at 2 very polarizing characters on the tier list as well, so it definitely can be a little bit troublesome to deal with. But obviously, Mauu, one of those players who I'm sure has been in this situation before, has had to deal with some of Mexico City's finest day in and day out, a lot of which are probably also terrible Ryu matchups, and he's able to make it work. He's one of the finest players in the city, so gonna have to come in and clutch up against Manny for sure if he wants to make it back to the OT.
Yeah, let's see if he even gets a chance here, as Manny absolutely playing on fire right up the rip, though. We are seeing a patient approach out of this, and the fireballs are gonna come out, and trying to go for those shield break setups, perhaps even a little bit earlier than expected. Good interception right there. That is gonna be a sweet deal of damage going on for Mauu already, and much better start than what we saw last time around. He kind of got caught asleep at the wheel at some points, those minecarts that caught him off guard, and not only to talk about the fare that just stole his life at such an early percent, but now it seems like a much better ordeal. And I was starting to wonder, because Mauu, one of those players that for sure is going to have that Steve experience with players such as Reza. So, I mean, while no easy peasy, of course, still he could show us what he's made of. Let's see the recovery first, though, and of course, dealing with Steve at the ledge, it is just such an impossible task sometimes. However, daunting as it may be, Mauu seems to have managed to breeze through that, and let's see if he gets punished. not quite there yet.
Yeah, still looking pretty valiantly right here. That should be the Tatsu,
Nice.
and that is going to be the stock right there. Excellent work right here from Mauu. There was a sticky scenario at the ledge where, you know, you kind of were forced to just sit on ledge for a while when Manny was charging. I'm pretty sure down smash on the anvil or on the block with the anvil. So,
Yeah.
you know, I love that patience from Mauu, understanding the situation. Like you said, some of that proficiency in this matchup is starting to show a little bit right here, but it's going to take a little bit more than just some proficiency in order to take the take this game right now off of Manny. Manny been playing pretty hot, and just like that, no damage taken. We are right back to even right here. So still anybody's game, but Mauu, anytime he finds one hit, he's able to convert usually. So we're just gonna have to see some of that consistency a little bit more when it comes to his damage output.
Oh, good catch and nice damage right there for Mauu. Those interceptions with the upper cancel straight in, and the parry comes through. However, let's try to see the extension. Manny was trying to get some nasty damage right there. Back to the Shaku game right here for Mauu. Those fireballs have been, you know, a crucial portion of his mid-range pressure, and now he's trying to play the mix-ups. He's gonna get the interception onto the minecart, and even a little bit of extra damage, though that does not guarantee him a position good enough for him to actually be allowed to pressure as the trade does come through again. Those fireballs are gonna be the decisive factor right here for that mid-range. And, well, if you are Manny right here, you are very happy and continuing to mine, and of course, going for those minecarts as a mix-up at that same distance, and not even you're trying to get close and you already know what you're gonna catch. It is just a diamond force smash.
Yeah, that's the old reliable. That's the bread and butter from Steve right there. At any time you do get a little bit too close, I mean, you saw Manny start to pressure the blocks, trying to at least, you know, break the distance, but that does come at a cost, and it was just a matter of time. And, you know, he kept getting away with it, but finally Manny was like, no, let me go ahead and get you with this real quick. But Mauu able to still find these scenarios wherever he's able to kind of whiff punish Manny anytime he throws out these smash attacks. He's able to at least retreat and then set himself up in this position where he can find these backers. It's definitely a lot right now, and man, Mauu is doing a really good job of, you know, just continuing to add the pressure, but not a whole lot else gained. Kind of a stalemate now.
Oh, Mauu definitely had a chance for a bigger punish right there. Instead, it is Manny, the one who's going to take his opportunity to take Mauu ever closer to dying right here. The second minecart will hit through it, try to get the setup right there. A little bit of extra height perhaps would have been enough for Mauu to find that confirmed with the upper into the Shoryu. Extra pressure with the fireballs yet again, but it's towards the platforms now. The respect into the minecart. I mean, you have to play the mix-up at that point, and he's trying to let rip with the down smash. Doesn't quite work out there for Mr. Mauu. However, you can feel the tension in the air. He's gonna get dragged out by the minecart, and that is why you always have to be extra careful. And Mauu had definitely been paying a lot closer attention to that type of situation. However, every now and again, you are definitely gonna get caught, and that is gonna cost him dearly. Now, it seems like a tough break for him, as Manny does find himself with 2 games ahead.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty tall order. You're gonna have to win 3 straight just to throw yourself back into the matchup that you had earlier with Goku. You know, just to make it to grand finals, gonna have to win 3 straight. But Manny's looking very strong here. Manny's looking like he is very much in prime position in order to cement himself in the grand finals. And what a crazy run it would be for Manny to drop down in losers quarters and bringing it all the way back and potentially winning the tournament. I mean,
oh yeah.
You know, realistically speaking, you know, if you're Goku, it's like you definitely want Mauu to win. Like, this is a much more achievable matchup as opposed to Steve. I've seen Goku pull out the Greninja for Steve. You know, like, it's just really that hard for Kirby sometimes. So might be a little bit more compromising, if you will. So Mauu definitely needing to kind of turn it up a little bit right here, but Manny kind of just getting right back to where he left off. Just having situations where he's just able to just pile this damage on, basically mine for free now, like not really being contested a lot.
Yeah, that's a problem, right? Once you get into that negative feedback loop with Steve or Alex, in which you are pretty much forced to wait, to play the waiting game, and we saw exactly the type of playstyle that Manny is able to develop once he's got all the iron, once he's got all the materials, and well, he is continuing to rack up even extra, and Mauu cannot weather the storm right there, a fiery one at that, and now down by 1 stock, pretty much full at this point, and even more. Look at the pain train that continues to go, coming in from Manny. He closes in the distance. I love that, just getting aggressive, spending a lot of resources, but he can definitely afford it at this point.
Yeah, like you said, definitely. I mean, if it's all in the name of maintaining your lead, Manny definitely more than willing to use those resources. But I mean, right now, Manny is not really in a position where he's like under direct threat to losing the stock this early. And now it's just more and more. I mean, it just feels a little more and a little more doomer at this point. Yeah, smart stuff, just waiting it out, knowing that if you jump, you probably get hit, knowing if you get up attack, you probably get hit by that. So, but this might be potentially something. No, can't really find anything.
Oh man, that was a little bit tragic. That was the opportunity for Mauu to at the very least close the distance in the stocks department. The trade almost claims his own life with the minecart right there. Manny not really bearing his options a lot. We've seen that same setup, 1 block high and then going for the down smash. Mauu definitely has shown us the patience in that regard. However, patience elsewhere is gonna cost you quite a bit, as Manny does manage to once again get himself rich in iron. That's a ton of it he has gotten right now, and oh brother, it's getting tougher by the second, looking a lot like that game number 1.
Yeah, exactly. It just felt like it just feels like there's not really a whole lot of time for Mauu to get in right here. It just feels like it's just impossible to get in sometimes. And anytime you do get in, you pretty much just take a ton of damage. And then when you do wait, you find these scenarios where you just get to mine for free. But I'm very surprised that he was able to live that.
True.
I feel like that was just ultra mega dead.
Yeah. Now he's ultra mega dead though, and he is got pretty much the entire setup. You can afford to mine as well. You're going for the off smash. That stock was forfeit a long time ago. Now with the interceptions, but too little too late it feels like. And at this point, Manny is got to be feeling himself, and he's probably even thinking about that encounter against Gilhu. As I mean, I'm not gonna count Mauu out just yet, but it is still a very, very difficult ask from him. And the tougher situation is that you just are not able to chip away at the materials that much, right? Like, we've only seen Manny play very aggro with the materials because he can afford it, but I mean, it's not like Mauu has been really forcing them out of it, finally getting a bit more scrappy. But I mean, won't you look at that, just back to square number 1, and you know that you can build just too high and then go again for a bit more of a passive setup to try and close things out. Manny being cautious right here, but he is gonna take care of things with the minecart and completely blocking the way back, as Mauu is unable to reach the ledge. And that was a dominant 3-0 set coming in from Smash Knight's very own Manny, coming to conquer Mexico City yet again. And the last defender is gonna be Gilhu.
The pride of Mexico City now simply just it's on the shoulders of this little pink ball. Like, now it's all up to Gilhu. If you can clutch this out, I mean, it would be a crazy win for sure. But yeah, I mean, historically, this is he's probably gonna have to do it with the Greninja instead of the Kirby, at least for Alex. So I'm not really sure. Yeah. Maybe I mean, I think if you're playing that well, then I think it doesn't matter. Like, you could just play Kirby. But I think realistically speaking, we probably do see the Greninja at some point, especially because since Gilhu does have 2 sets to work with, he can at least figure it out. So I think this might have been the worst case scenario in terms of like who he wanted to deal with in Grands. But I mean, if you want to win the tournament, you just got to be willing to beat anyone and everyone at any given point, right?
You have to be ready.